Hello, LilyKatchum video. Today we're going to take a look at a very strong team with Shadow Gyarados from my brother actually. He hit a legend with this team and honestly I can really recommend you this team. Like, this team was so much fun to play, especially the backline and especially the Diggersby was so much fun to play. But also Gyarados in lead was also quite nice. What I have to say though is I'm fairly certain if you have a better IV Shadow Gyarados, it might be a little bit better than what I had here, because as you can see on the right side, IVs are not that great for this Pokemon. I would actually have a better one, but I thought that the one that I have built was actually a good one, but the one that I have built is the one that I kind of want to play in the Master League eventually, so yeah, that is my own fault. Still, this team was quite nice. I went way positive with it. I actually can check really quick what elo I am at right now. Definitely went like crazy positive with it as well. I'm at 2,870, so I'm getting closer to Legend, so very likely you're gonna see most likely like a Legend team in the next week here as well on the channel, hopefully. It's a little bit sad kind of because a Whimsicott is still available for one more week and I feel like it's kind of already getting a little bit stale, but we will see how it's gonna go. Thackery coming through here and we will see in the back a Pokemon that we like to see and we can win the first battle. Moving on, we're going to have a good Germnaa lead here. This is going to be a matchup that is going to be quite a neutral one. I think you can just fully farm them down if you use one shield, by the way. And I feel like this is a mistake that I have made here, which I did not really realize at the time. But still, you should be able to win this matchup in also the zero shield scenario, as Crunch is going to knock them out. We can swap out. They're going to have a perfect matchup for us here. Honestly, Magneton in the back was so good. So many teams were double weak to Magneton. And as you're going to see here, we're going to have the Jellicent, we're going to have Registeel, and both of them kind of really struggle against Magneton. Even like the Registeel doesn't really appreciate this one because Registeel has no fast move pressure, so the low bulk does not matter of our Magneton, and we're going to keep all our shields for this Pokemon. And so as long as you're going to be able to hit one Zap Cannon, not Zap Cannon, one Wild Charge. Zap Cannon would be actually also kind of cool. It does learn Zap Cannon, but yeah, one Wild Charge, we're going to be fine. And the Pokemon that learns Zap Cannon is of course the trash can of Registeel. But as you can see, we have even some energy lead, which is kind of great. Wild Charge is coming through. There's no reason to bait here. There's literally no benefit of doing that. The opponent decides to use a shield. We can use a shield as well. Could be something like a Zap Cannon. Let's find out. It's going to be the Focus Blast. And the opponent decides to forfeit here. Good game there. Next opponent, we're going to have the Poliwrath in the lead, which is going to be a little bit of a trickier one for this team, and I feel like this might be one of the matchups that really shift around if you have different IVs, because it is a little bit of an awkward one. Like, while you have resisted damage from the opponent coming through, also your charge moves are all resisted, and so it is a little bit of a trickier one here for sure. They are going to be able to go for the full farm run, which they would have not been able to do so if I had better IVs on my Gyarados. For sure I would have been able to survive those counters as well, so that is quite tricky. And now we're going to be in a little bit of a different difficult spot here, as they're going to still have a Registeel and a Gligar. They lock themselves into the Gligar, into this position, which is quite lovely because Quick Attack Fire Punch Diggersby is actually quite good against the opponent's Gligar. We have a way better book than the opponent. We have also kind of some nice bait moves here with that Fire Punch. And so we're going to do some very nice damage here. And also we're going to get them quite low. And getting them low is quite important because with that, we might be able to put them into farmland range for our own Magneton. They don't even knock me out here as well. I can just go for another Fire Punch. The Switch Lock should be up quite soon. And so we can swap out, keep our Diggersby alive. Even the Diggersby still waiting around there in the back. It's going to be nice because I will always outspeed the opponent to a Fire Punch against that Registeel, which is going to be lovely. And so here we will be able to go for another charge move. The opponent decides to let the move go through, and with that, the game is kind of over. I can go for the Mirror Shot bait. If they call this, fine for them, happy for them. They actually do call this, but I still should be kind of fine here. Using a shield, doing some nice damage with the Volt Switch. I should be even able to fully farm them down here at this point, and we're gonna do exactly this, winning us this battle. Next opponent, we're going to have an opponent in the lead. That is going to be quite a neutral lead, actually. You could swap out, but honestly, I feel like staying in here is the best play that you can go for. You should be able to win this matchup as well eventually, but here I felt like I was going for a CMP tie, which just didn't work out. But at least I can now go ahead and go for a Crunch, which does work out. And it's going to get the final shield, or the first shield from the opponent while getting the defense drop. But honestly, I was not counting the moves from the opponent, which is going to come in clutch for them here, because I thought I could fully farm them down. It was not even close, so if I went for a charge move, or maybe even let my Gyarados survive with that, plus have some energy on the Gyarados, but like this, the opponent has a great opportunity to just take advantage of this game. Like, you have now a shield advantage of the opponent, you have switch advantage for the opponent. This is very, very difficult to get back from. So we can still try our best with Diggersby. Diggersby being able to take so many hits is quite lovely in this scenario where we don't have any shields left. But of course, we have also on the back a Magneton, which really appreciates to have shields because, yeah, like Magneton is not known for its bulk for sure. But as we will see here, we're going to be able to go for another Fire Punch, going to be able to get the shield from the opponent. So they're very likely weak to Diggersby in the back, but does it really help me? I am not too sure. I don't think the opponent saw my last Pokemon yet. Now they're going to see it, and they can still reach another charge move, and this is going to be, sadly, a dig. So, moving on. Next opponent. We're going to have a Victory Bell in the lead. We have some lag here in the beginning, which I definitely, yeah, you see that there as well. You can literally see it on the screen, which is a little bit annoying. And here also I played a little bit too risky, and I could have actually went for the Crunch, which would have been cool if I got the debuff. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because we get the shield, and we're going to get more energy with our Magneton. So, what we can do here is we can use a shield. This is going to be the Leaf Blade coming through. We can try to go for the full farm down, and in comes now the Steelix from the opponent, which is going to be quite nice as we can all let the move go through. This is going to be the Psychic Fangs from the opponent. We can also see a Carving coming in, and it's going to be quite a difficult one here because what we kind of need to do is we kind of need to turn down the switch clock. As you will see here, we can go for another Scorching Sands as well. I kind of want to overfarm as well a lot because getting a lot of energy here can be quite beneficial for the next matchup afterwards. And so I kind of just want to get some energy for that Steelix later on while using a shield here on potentially just the Rock Side. It is just the Rock Side, but I can at least swap out now, go for the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot is going to knock out the opponent, and this is going to be able to put them into a scenario where they only going to have the Steelix left. And I just going to hope here to get some debuffs with the Mirror Shot. Both moves going to be resisted here, but Wild Shot is double resisted, and so I was thinking that getting a debuff might be the best play to go for, and so we try our best here again. Mirror Shot coming through, and it's not going to get a debuff, but we can even try another time, and this is going to guarantee them to be basically in range for our Diggersby for one of those moves. But also, the opponent got just the attack drop as well, which is kind of nice, and we can go for a Fire Punch, so went for... Oh, never mind, the opponent still has a shield left, so definitely the right call from me as well. They decided to go for a Crunch. I should went for one more extra fast move here. This was a little bit silly, but at least I can still go ahead and get some damage onto them, as we will see them going for their own charge move, and Crunch is going to not knock me out, and I can go for one more quick attack and win the battle. Dragonite in the lead. That is going to be a matchup where you definitely kind of want to stay in as they swap onto the Steelix, and I did only realize way too late here that it's going to be a Thunderfang variant. Like, honestly, what are the chances for Thunderfang Steelix? Like, that is so ridiculously niche. I like it. Like, I like to see stuff like this that are like just kind of funny and like not really something that people would expect. But of course, took me quite a while to realize that it's not going to be Dragon Breath, but it's actually going to be the Thunderfang. But here we will be able to let the move go through. It is going to be an Earthquake, doing way more damage. Should have used a shield for sure, but it is what it is. I can now underfarm this Fire Punch. Not going to knock them out, and they swap out into the Dragonite, allowing me to go for another charge move, trying to also drop the opponent's attack here, which is not going to work out for us, but at least we should be able to go for the full farm down here with our Shadow variant of Magneton. Shadow Magneton, honestly, is quite a lovely pick for this meta right now. Like, Shadow Magneton is always quite decent when it's allowed, but here especially, I feel like it's so good. Even against like matchups which usually would resist it, like Liga or the Quagsire or the Swampert. Is Swampert even allowed? I'm not too sure. But like those Pokemon, they all still kind of take quite a lot of damage from the Magneton just because it is just a single resisted move usually. And so, yeah, it is quite mad. Anyway, we're going to see here the Empoleon, which is going to have access to that Drill Peck, which is going to be quite awkward. We use a shield here. This is going to not work out for us again because the opponent survives with 1 HP. And they have 2 charge moves stored, apparently, which I did not expect. And with that, we're sadly going to win the battle. Next opponent, we're going to have the Deoxys in the lead. That's going to be quite an okay one for us. We can take a Psycho Boost in theory, but I don't really want to. But we have Crunch on our Pokemon, which is going to be quite nice. So, they swap out into a Double. You kind of want to get some pre-damage onto it. Double is actually quite an awkward pick for you because, well, Magneton is going to be able to resist everything in theory in terms of the charge moves. Actually, it doesn't even resist Payback, never mind there, but yeah, like basically Wild Charge plus Body Slam. It is going to struggle against the fast move, And kind of similar to also this Diggersby here, but Diggersby is just having way more bulk, and this bulk is going to help us out taking those boy stems like it's nothing. If they have wild charge, I don't care. And so actually, look at this, we're gonna get the attack drop as well. I have to say, I have not ever seen that many attack drops from Scorching Sands. Usually when I use Scorching Sands, I never get anything from it, like literally like 0% or whatever, but like this time around I got like 2 or 3 nerfs or like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's actually kind of drop onto the opponent's attack, which is kind of cool, which usually never happens for me when I usually play, but it is what it is. Here we're still going to be in a little bit of a difficult spot because the opponent is going to have the Umbreon. We have our Gyarados aligned against it, which is not ideal. I said let the move go through as well, and I'm just going to hope now at this point to get a lot of energy with my Magneton. Like, that's the only win condition I see here at this point, so I let the move go through from the opponent, try to just get rid of the energy that they have, and we can go for the full farm down now. And they can actually farm them down before they can go for another charge move, which is going to be so good for us because now we don't have to worry. We can just go straight for 2 wild charges in order to knock them out. First one coming through, second one is not going to come through immediately because I decided to go for the charge move on the same turn, but we can still win the CMP tile like against anything in this meta, and we can move on to the next opponent. Let's see what they're going to run. They're going to have the Gallagher here in the lead, which is going to be quite a positive matchup for us. We are going to use a shield though, because Aerial Ace is still going to chunk quite a bit from our health, as we will see a Gustlord swapping in. I stayed in for a little bit, maybe too long even, but I kind of want to put them into range where one Scorching Sands is enough to knock them out. But the damage output for this thing is actually quite nice. I did not really expect it to be that strong. But they're going to give us some free fast moves, which is always quite lovely. And so what we can do is we can just go for a Scorching Sands, which is going to be able to hopefully knock them out. It is not. We're going to get the shield, which is even better. And we can go for another one straight away afterwards. So this is going to look quite nice for us, as we're going to get another shield here. Maybe at this point, I could even decide to go ahead and go into my Magneton, farm them down, because the attack is lowered from the opponent as well. We decide to go into exactly this, which I feel like is the right call to go for. It's going to be a crunch coming through here, doing still quite a lot of damage, like over half. Like, if you imagine this being debuffed, then I don't know, like, it would do quite a lot of damage. Anyway, we're going to see here the opponent having to take the Awkward here, which does not really work out too well for them, and they decide to forfeit. 2 more battles to come. The next one is going to be a horrible leader of Whimsicott. Whimsicott still is going to have some quite decent answers in the back here with both our Diggersby as well as our, what's called Magneton here. Magneton also going to have super effective damage, but also we have the Fire Punch and the Quick Attack on the Diggersby, which is doing quite some solid damage against it as well. We bait out the opponent's Fighter, which is really important because Fighting type Pokemon against Magneton is quite a no-no, as we will see a Power Punch variant. Quite a unique moveset for sure. We're going to decide to go back into that Gyarados, which is gonna have to take a Power Punch. The opponent is going to swap out into the Whimsicott, as we can go ahead and retaliate with our Magneton here. Magneton is gonna be quite in a nice spot. We are gonna try to get some more Mirror Shots onto them. Mirror Shot is going to drop the opponents, or like this player's attack then, but also it's just a very cheap move to get to, which is kind of cool. So we're just gonna spam this one. The opponent is gonna go kind of down eventually, so this is looking kind of nice. We will see the opponent going for another charge move, which we call this time around, which is just going to be the Seed Bomb, and we can just knock them out here, which is going to be quite a lovely one. So let's see, in the back it's going to be a 90. It's going to be a tricky one to still win, but luckily they're not Charm. Charm would be way worse for us. But here we will be able to just go ahead and try to even go for another one if I want to, but I decided to just swap out. I can go for an Awkward here, and this should be basically it as well. And so yeah, this is going to be definitely it. As the opponent still tries to knock me out, it doesn't really work out, and we can move on to the next opponent after the opponent still tries to do here some mad stuff with a Ninetales. I don't think it's going to work like this, but they still try their best, and so let's move on to the next opponent. Final battle for today, we're going to see here the Dragonite in lead against our Shadow Gyarados, and we see also a swap out into the Greedent. Greedent plus the Dragonite is quite a common call. Very likely that there is going to be a Steel type in the back, so they're very likely going to be very happy to see the Diggersby here. But honestly, because the way this team is kind of designed, I don't really care too much about it. I think it's still going to be fine. And we will see here the matchup of Diggersby against the opponent's Greedent. We can still see who is going to go on top of this. We're going to be able to go ahead and get a Scorching Sands off and knock out the opponent and allowing us to align ourselves. They go back into their Dragonite, which is going to have to take ground type move here, which is a little bit annoying for it, but it is what it is. We're gonna do some nice damage with it, and also we can go back into our Magneton here, which is going to be able to go for the full farm down as they swap out into the Ferrothorn. I had no idea how to play against Ferrothorn. Like, Ferrothorn is quite an awkward Pokemon to deal with for his team for sure, but as we will see here, Gyarados hopefully going to seal the deal. It is going to be quite a difficult one. Let's see if it's going to work out for them. We will be able to go for another Awkward Tail. This Awkward Tail is going to be able to not connect, get the shield from the opponent. They still have a shield left, which we can also force with another move here, which is going to be quite nice. And so this is going to look quite okay as we can swap out back into the Magnet Zone. They, of course, going to try to go for some nice charge moves here, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. Power Whip coming through, and we can also now decide to go ahead and, just let the move go through here. I still should be kind of fine. We can try to go for the full farm down, which doesn't work out, but here at least they're gonna still get some mirror shot damage here. We're gonna be able to knock them out, and we can now also knock out the opponent's Dragonite. And with this, that's going to be it for this video. It's a little bit hectic here right now, so yeah. There's going to be a video out tomorrow as well, which is covering the top teams for this cup, which people already got legend to. So definitely check the one out when it's going to be live, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.